This is funny. Well, we've never gone out there and made a video like this before. We've made our post-game videos on the Canucks, we've made our post-game videos on the Red Wings, we've talked about teams that happen to be some of my favorites around the NHL. But this post-game video is going over a game we had seen last night between the San Jose Sharks and the Calgary Flames, because from this game, we had ourselves not one, not two, but three important performances out of guys that are somewhat relevant to the fan bases that I cater to the most. You know from the title, you know from the thumbnail, today we are talking about former Detroit Red Wings top pick Filip Zadina, and we're also talking about former and maybe even future Vancouver Canucks players in Andrei Kuzmenko and Chris Tanev. Because man, when I saw the box score for this game, I was kind of perplexed, as were many others in the hockey world. Now, I will say, of course, I wasn't watching this game live. My attention was on my own ball hockey game that I was playing last night, and my extended attention was put onto the Canucks and the Red Wings game, which was finishing up by the time I got home. So, I didn't watch any of the San Jose-Calgary game live, but this does give us a potential opportunity to discuss the benefit of hindsight and how things like these really do work out. So, last night, the Calgary Flames lost to the San Jose Sharks by a pretty embarrassing score of 6-3. Now, losing a game 6-3 isn't like the worst thing in the world, you know, it happens once in a while, but come on, you lost to the San Jose Sharks. They're not a good team. They're one of the worst in the NHL. If there's any team that's going out there and tanking for Celebrini, it's San Jose. Especially now that we have word that pretty much everybody that's valuable on this team is eligible to being traded. That was an update we had gotten yesterday, including some defensemen like Mario Ferraro and a few other names that could be seen as valuable. But the MVP performance of last night's 6-3 San Jose win was none other than Filip Zadina, who had himself a career high of 4 points in the game. He had 2 goals and 2 assists, and if you go over some of these points, I mean, he had 2 of his assists in the opening minutes of the second period on Mikael Granlund and Justin Bailey's goals, and then he had himself 2 straight goals within the span of under a minute in the third period. The first point of Filip Zadina's night was a play where he intercepted a wing-to-wing pass in the Calgary Flames zone, had the puck by himself for a little bit, held onto it, killed a little bit of time to allow his line mates to come onto the ice, and with a brilliant pass sent it back over to Granlund, who walked right in and put the Sharks up, tying the game up 1-1. You then had yourselves the second Zadina assist of the game, where again he's a part of a play where a teammate picks off a pass. It's Justin Bailey who keeps the puck in the Calgary Flame zone. He passes it down to the goal mouth where Filip Zadina is right there, and one touch passes it back to Bailey, who puts it in the open cage and gives the Sharks the lead. Then, you had yourself Zadina in the opening few minutes of the third period, getting himself a tip-in goal. This one's a very nice one, where the same guys, Justin Bailey, this time he has the secondary assist rather than the goal itself. But Filip Zadina kind of does everything on this play. He's the guy who takes the puck down the middle, he passes it off to Nico Sturm on the left side as they're entering the Flame zone. Sturm waits, takes, and flying by the front of the net is Filip Zadina, who tips the puck in, giving him his third point of the game and his first marker on the game too. And then for good measure, it's Filip Zadina again, who comes right in just seconds later across the blue line, walks right in and fires it by the goaltender there. Filip Zadina legitimately just put up a 4-point game, which is kind of interesting considering the fact that his point production heading into tonight's contest was at 47 games and only 13 points. Zadina had 0 points in his previous 4 games heading into last night's contest against the Calgary Flames. So you could very well say that a lot of the numbers, I mean, he's got a lot of donuts spread throughout this season, and that could be seen as a more true indicator as to where Zadina is in terms of his capabilities on the ice, but a 4-point night doesn't hurt. And when it comes to confidence, I mean, this is a guy who, when he plays with confidence, you can see what he can do. He does a lot more things with the puck, and he does a lot better decisions as well. So maybe this could be the wake-up call for Filip Zadina to really prove his worth at the NHL level. You know he's on that contract, $1.1 million till the end of the season. He terminated the actually bigger contract he had with the Red Wings because he wanted a better opportunity. So maybe there is a chance for him to really redeem himself, starting out with what was a 4-point night, the first of his career against Calgary. But of course, Filip Zadina isn't the only one that we are talking about in this game, because you had yourselves another goal scored by Andrei Kuzmenko to give Calgary that third goal on the night. This is a brilliant play where Jonathan Huberdeau plays it back over to Chris Tanev. Tanev then takes the shot, and it's tipped in on the goal mouth by Andrei Kuzmenko. That's the kind of goal that he would score in Vancouver endlessly, over and over like he did last year. It's just not really been too much of a thing for him this season, at least with Vancouver. Now he's getting them with Calgary, and what's more interesting is that Chris Tanev, that was his second assist on the game. So Chris Tanev gets multiple assists in this one. Andrei Kuzmenko continues his goal-scoring dominance. Filip Zadina has himself a night. What the hell's going on in the NHL nowadays, man? Do you see why I'm making a video about this? This is so weird for the Red Wings and Canucks fan in me, seeing all of these guys collide in the way that they did last night. For Filip Zadina, of course, this could be the comeback story of the ages for a guy who is only 23 years old. But then, for the other guys, I mean, Andrei Kuzmenko, he has been so well-loved by everybody in Calgary that it's been kind of fun to watch. You know, just as a Canucks fan sitting here on the sidelines, keeping up to date with what the Calgary Flames are going through with Kuzmenko. Here's a comment made by Blake Coleman in response to Andrei Kuzmenko. You know, you read what you read in the media, and you obviously think, oh, he's not working out somewhere. What's the issue? And I can't figure it out. He works hard. He's a funny guy. He wants to win. I think he's blown us away. Another comment says that Kuzmenko is a goofy guy. He's sort of like a cartoon. He makes you laugh. He's fun to watch. He's got a little bit of everything. And he never turns it off. I love it. This is the scouting report for the personality that Andrei Kuzmenko is, and just how warm and welcoming his entire vibe is. You could even see during the interviews, Calgary Flames reporters, media, fans, they love this guy. And that is not surprising to me in the slightest, considering how much he was a fan favorite here in Vancouver, and how much he was loved by this fan base as well. It's just, you know, when you're the first overall team in the NHL and a guy really isn't working, sometimes you have to make tough decisions. And it's not really like the Canucks are complaining that they don't have him anymore. It's just they're literally still winning games, so they're fine. Meanwhile, going over to Chris Tanev, I found it interesting that his entire game profile also showed similar results in terms of point production, because this 2-point night from Tanev was the first point he had had since the beginning of February. And if you go back to the middle of January, pretty much, Tanev only has 4 points in however many games played this is. 3, 4, 7, 10, 12 games, that is. Which is not surprising, since Tanev was never really like a top-tier point producer anyway, but just seeing this guy actually put in the points and get things to go, whilst assisting on an Andrei Kuzmenko backdoor tap-in, that is kind of poetic in my opinion, which is why we wanted to make this video here on the channel today. If you're a fan of the Red Wings or a fan of the Canucks, then hey, check out the post-game video from last night talking about Nikita Zadorov grittying on Jake Wallman. But also let me know your thoughts in the comment section below about Filip Zadina, Andrei Kuzmenko, Chris Tanev. What are your thoughts on these guys doing their thing? Could Filip Zadina actually bolster himself back up to NHL superstardom status like he had when he was a prospect in 2018? I don't think it's possible, but do you? Do you think a 4-point game like this could be the catalyst to some sort of a transformation in that respect? As for Andrei Kuzmenko and Chris Tanev, if you're a Canucks fan, what are your thoughts on the way their seasons have gone so far? And if you're a Calgary Flames fan, how much do you gosh darn love seeing Andrei Kuzmenko and his personality? Thoughts in the comment section below. I hope you enjoyed this video. And bye.